Hello fellow humans and welcome back to the Madhouse. In case you can't remember who I am because it's been like donkey's years since I posted a video, I'm Josh. I took a short break from the internet to correct my state of mind and I think it went rather well. I did a lot of reading, I've done some baking, I've hung out with friends, went to see Inside Out, great film. Not too sure about watching a film about emotions great for a sociopath, but still enjoyed it. And of course I bathed in the blood of my enemies and here I am, fresh-faced and ready to make another start. So without further ado, I'm going to do my wrap-up for Booktubeathon, or whatever it's called, the readathon I was doing in the past week. It went quite well. I managed to read a lot of books, not all of them in the Booktubeathon TBR because I didn't have the books with me at the time, but I still wanted to read, but I enjoyed them nonetheless. I will make a confession. Bill Bryson's Shakespeare, I did not have time to finish. I wanted to do it, but there was one day where I just didn't get any reading done whatsoever, and I'm not entirely sure why. Because I did have books with me, I was at home, but I didn't do it. But I'm going to read this week anyway, just so I can finish it and say that I've actually read it. Now, The Life of Brian screenplay is always a fun read. I've read it maybe twice before. The first time was for my Literature of Laughter course at university, and it's always a lot of fun. There's so much that's missed from the film that's in this. In fact, one of those is actually completely intentionally dropped, not because it affects the runtime, but because it's about Nazis, and well, this is a very Jewish-centred film, you see, and it's not really appropriate. Even the Pythons know when to draw the line. Still, an incredibly blasphemous film, but it's fun, and I don't care about blasphemy because I don't believe in it. The Last Hero by Terry Pratchett and illustrated by Paul Kirby. This is the book that I chose to read in one sitting, and I did do that. It did make it rather difficult to make a cake the other day, but I still did it. Coffee and walnut came out rather nicely. But this makes me laugh, as always. It's stunning, and there's so many references and pieces of intertextuality in this. It's a truly fantastic read, fantastic concept, and stunning. I mean, here we see some of the designs made by Leonard Daquerme, and they're all wonderfully done. There was Fantastic Mr. Fox, the ebook of course, so I can't show it. And obviously I'm a little bit too mature to read it as I would when I was a child, but I still enjoyed it because of the nostalgia it brought about, and the fact that it is just such a fun read. I'm not really sure that Fox is necessarily so clever as it's portrayed in that now, but it's still fun. And that's what you really need from a book, yes? Up next there was Golden Boy by Abigail Tatalin, or Tartalin, however you say it. I'm afraid I still don't know how. And I really enjoyed this book. It's rather, what's that word? It's incredibly emotive, at least. Max goes through some pretty terrible things. He has to put up with the typical troubles of being a teenager and of being intersex and of, well, I'm going to say it because it's something that happens fairly early on and you will know about it anyway. He is raped. It's also rather educational. It's quite didactic in times in explaining the science, but without being patronisingly so, which is always a good mix, I find, and the author, whose name I can't say, did that. There was The Bloody Circus by Angela Carter, which was a physical book, but I didn't manage to finish it because I put it down to go and answer the phone and now I can't find it. This was at about 10 o'clock on Sunday night, so I could have easily finished it during the rest of that night because I was only about 30 pages from the end, but I don't know where it is. Bloody frustrating. I quite enjoyed it. I think it was a little bit too much to do with Beauty and the Beast for my taste, but I still quite like the idea of the bloody chamber. Not the actual chamber itself, but rather the rather twisted husband and, well, I can't really go into it without spoiling it. That's the problem with short stories. Last but not least, there is Neil Gaiman's Trigger Warning, Short Stories and Disturbances. Now, this was a fantastic book, and I'm going to have to read it again. Truly incredible. Some of the short stories I didn't quite understand, or they were in poem form, but I quite liked the, what was it called? The Calendar of Tales, but my favourite ones in this have to be A Case of Death and Honey, which is a Sherlock Holmes story where it explains his love of beekeeping, why he starts keeping them at all, and it's a truly fantastic story. I love it. It's very well done, thought out, and of course it's about death and mortality, so it's an issue that really bothers me because I am terrified of dying and fading away into nothing. Another good one was Nothing O'Clock, which is another Doctor Who story where Gaiman has, I think, invented a species which can jump through time, and there's only one of them, but they can do it so many times that there are billions of them in any one place. And it's a truly fantastic way of doing it. It's set in the early tenure of Matt Smith as the Doctor, and it's done exceptionally well, and I would actually quite like to see it expanded into a full story or a full episode, but I doubt that's going to happen. And then my favourite one in here was The Sleeper and the Spindle, but I didn't read it in Trigger Warning because once I saw what it was, I realised that I'd picked up an absolutely beautiful illustrated version of the story from the library, and it is something I wanted to call it monochromatic, but it's not. It's incredibly gothic, but it's all coloured in black, white and shades of gold. Well, not shades of gold, but... And it's remarkably beautiful. So much detail went into all of these. It's a retelling of both Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, and you won't see the twist at the end. Very, very good. And it's excellent. I love retellings of stories, and I think I may have to just buy a copy of this book anyway, because it's so pretty. Even though I've got the story, it's just, everyone needs a book so stunningly beautiful as this. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very nice. And that's it. I shall hope to put up a video tomorrow, which will be a Return to Top 5 Wednesday, and on Friday I've yet to decide what I'm going to do. I'll figure something out. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and do the sharing thing. This has been an extra installment from the Madhouse. I hope you have a wonderful day, and tune in tomorrow or whenever you watch it, because time is the funny thing when you're talking about YouTube. Bye!